Hey, True Believers England team, finally here. Okay, I thought actually I was going to be here a little bit earlier. Not the case. But here we are. We're going to be talking about something that's kind of bothered me as I was moving, getting everything settled, finding a home for my family. I've been watching the comments occasionally from my phone, sniping back. And I want to talk about not just the comments, but what causes the comments. The fact that people don't really, some people, I should say, don't really think for themselves, and they just, in condemning mob mentality, they become mob mentality. And I'm going to do that by going through the comments. LK and I made 2 videos. I don't know if you were there. I'm sorry if you were there, Dalton, for one of them or not. I know
I was there for one of them. I thought, yeah. I thought I was there for the first one.
Okay, then that's the main one. That's the main one that got people pissed off because my title and the thumbnail, I called Ed Piskor as Groomer Pile. I thought it was funny. I don't take it serious. That's why I joke about it, because I don't take it serious. If you notice the title of this one is I Killed Ed Piskor. Why? Because I'm not taking you serious. It's a ridiculousness.
I can see how you got there, and I can also see why it ruffled feathers.
Well, originally, see, I don't know why, I heard, I saw a title, Ed Piskor, Groomer, and then all of a sudden it popped in my head, and Jim Neighbors is Gomer Pyle, and so it just was like, Ed Piskor is Groomer Pyle. But then the original thing was Groomer Pyle KFAB. Like Gomer Pyle USMC. That's the way my freaking sense of humor works. I use 50-freaking-year-old, 60-year-old pop culture references. And so people got pissed at that. People got mad. I want to go over some of these. They're being ridiculous. I couldn't find a regular bottle, so I'm drinking gallon here.
And yes, those in the comments, if anyone ever does comment about the ceiling bird, I have already mocked him for the ceiling bird before we came on air.
Wrote up on this guy, completely forgot about him. What did I know is he worked with Jim Rugg, who is my cousin. Well, there you go. I was actually wondering about that. When we mentioned it, I was like, wait a second, Rugg is, just wrote up on this guy, completely forgot about him. Wait, me? I can understand that. I've been gone for a little bit.
But I assume he means Ed, but who knows?
No, he's saying me because I haven't been here for a bit. So anywho, I want to talk about the comments. I want to talk about what's behind it and everything along the lines. And we'll go through this. So here's the story from what I understood. Not the Ed Piskor story, the after effects. I saw one person. Her name's Lenore. She put up a meme or something about Ethan Van Sciver just going off on Ed, laughing about maybe he killed himself this way. I never saw the Ethan Van Sciver, so I can't speak intelligently as to what he had said or how bad it was. Okay, but for this, I want to give Lenore all the benefit of the doubt, and let's just say Ethan Van Sciver was a complete freaking dick. Okay, 100%. Asshole about it, and the reason
that is entirely believable from where I'm
okay, but I really want this to be there, because when we go through this, I have shit to say. I have some serious shit to say. LK, you almost look angered at this.
No, I just keep going.
Alrighty. I want to get to there. We made two videos. The first one was commenting on the whole thing, the controversy. Excuse me, my brain. The first video we made was about the controversy itself, and I put my title as "Comic Book Artist Ed Piskor is in the grooming business," and that ticked a lot of people off. So there you go. I altered it, by the way, just to make people happy. There you go. I bent the knee. Just to explain to people what's going on. All right, so I want to go through some of these. and answer them. I answered them, some of them on the thing, but I just wanted to talk about it because what? Yeah, why'd you bring him down?
Because he was trying to fly out the door. It was only like this much. And he was
So now the ceiling bird can argue with the actual bird. Fun.
Well, put him in his cage. There you go, guys. Pistachio. I'm talking about the comments to a dead guy's video here. Come on. Tweet cheap. I know. So
not like you don't have him come here.
Yeah, he's my boy. You're my boy, but not today. Okay. Yes. So the ceiling bird is actually that bird. Let me go with that one. Okay. So I figure what the heck. Let's go. Not believing it. So I figure what the hell. Let's go through these and all right. So starting off, and I don't know if I should read off the people who are doing it. I mean, you could see who's doing it. Don't go after anybody. I shouldn't have to say that. I believe everybody here is intelligent enough not to go after people, but just for the CYA, don't go after people. So this guy, James, is saying dancing on a dead man's grave is sick. Dude, you're on the wrong video. This was the first one. This is, and I think I told him that. This is the one before he killed himself. This is where we're talking about the controversy. You're way off on this. Remove this from here, take it to the other one, put it on the other one, and then we get the idiocy, and that's right here. I don't know if y'all can see these or not. Okay, can you see the comments?
Yeah, I can see it fine.
All right. So he says
I can't see them. It's too far away or too small.
Because you're on your phone. So this is basically why I wanted to make this live stream, why I wanted to talk about this. He's saying, I think videos like this contributed to his death. Awful. No. He actually mentions who he felt was responsible. There's no way in hell did Ed see this video. There's just not, unless Ron shared it with him. There's not. I am not on his purvey. I'm not in his group. Sorry to disappoint you. I don't think Ethan Van Sciver is either, by the way. And that's why I wanted you to give you guys the benefit of the doubt and say, you're absolutely right. He said the worst thing in the world and is evil for having said it. It's still he didn't do it. He's not responsible. I'm not responsible. But video or comments like this is why I wanted to, because once again, somebody said, oh my gosh, look at Comicsgate. They said something. I'm not part of Comicsgate, guys, also. Look at Comicsgate. They said these horrible things. They're the ones that killed Ed Pitt. He mentioned the names. And it wasn't Ethan. And it wasn't me. It wasn't LK. And it wasn't John Del Rose. Sorry. They may have said some horrible things. I don't know. Wasn't them.
And,
so
more to the point, if you actually watch the video that they are currently angrily commenting on, you will notice that a good 2/3 of the freaking thing were spent saying he deserves the benefit of the doubt and we should wait for the evidence. If anything online contributed to him kicking the bucket, it sure as heck wasn't some people defending him and expecting him to be treated the same way as any accused person would be treated.
And the worst thing I said was he was the adult, even though she was the age of consent, and that's what I said. I don't know about whether or not you feel it's creepy or whatever. Him talking to this girl, it wasn't illegal because of the age of consent, but he was the adult and he should have known better. The next one says, are you happy now? I'm content. Thank you very much for asking. We got ourselves a new place. It was very stressful getting here. I'm very happy with my daughter. I'm very happy with my wife. But as far as myself is concerned, I feel more content. I'm worried about how things are going to go from here. And I just found out that my bank is sending a card and it's going to have to go through my old address to get to here. And they're canceling my card tonight at 11:59.
For those that don't see deadpan, he's doing a bit.
But as far as everything else is concerned, yeah. I mean, overall, I'm a happy guy. Thank you for asking. So the this guy at TF Studios saying how much of this shallow morality and how much is resentment of Ed's success. I'm assuming you're talking about the girl, because otherwise, and here's something else. And you guys could see me, right? I'm looking right at the camera, right? Okay.
Yes.
If you're commenting on a title, you're a fucking dumbass. Watch.
And again, I'd like to point out, for the record, we spent at least 2/3 of that video defending him and expecting him to be given the benefit of the doubt.
Exactly.
So you can miss all of us with all of that nonsense.
I'll say for myself, that part's not true. I mean, the whispered campaign and all the other leeches on the left weren't going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But, you know, on this video, you know, I was the one that probably doubted the accusations the most and was asking for more proof and pointing out how these were selectively edited and pasted together. And I know there were at least a couple people in the comments during the live chat that were accusing me of, supporting groomers.
And how many times did I principally rant about the fact that accusations are not by themselves evidence of anything?
Yes. Let's see. We've got, once again, hello to Ron Rugg. Thank you very much. Phil the Kills joking about the smoke alarm. I'm lazy, which I shouldn't be, because I kid you not, that smoke alarm sounds like our alarm in the house that we used to live in every time somebody would open the door. And so I actually had night terrors about a home invasion the first night we stayed here because of that. Because I kept thinking somebody was coming in the house. So, yeah. Let's see. Phil saying, I think Kefebe had a large following there, currently homeless and sorting things out, going after anyone who gave less than a glowing praise. That's them. I want to comment on Bargain Tuesday asking someone out is not assault. Yeah, if that's the case, none of us would have parents. Yeah, that's actually something I did mention, that the hashtag #MeToo movement, actually, it started off, okay, they're doing their thing, but it ended with it's a form of rape and assault just by asking a girl that doesn't know you. It became ridiculous. It really did. And yeah, I don't buy into that at all. I'm going to continue here. Alrighty. You guys good?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So this man asked me out. That's a form of assault. That's not a real thing, though. No one says that. You grossly and purposely over-exaggerated here because you didn't have an actual point. That's what we were just talking about. No, I didn't over-exaggerate. You just look and listen. There are some people, my brother, for one, not for this particular subject, but you remember that kid who the Indian dude played the drum in front of his
Nicholas
face?
Sandman?
There you go, Nicholas Sandman.
The kid in the MAGA hat? Yeah.
Everybody was talking about how they wanted to beat him and how he was smug and they hated him. My brothers, my family were into that as well.
The smile of the oppressor, blah, blah.
And I was like, the video was out the same day. And he was saying, no, this is the video, blah, blah. And I was like, no, there's a lot more to look at. Just refused to. Didn't want to believe it. There's a saying that goes, it's easier to fool someone than to convince them that they were fooled. And that's what's going on here. If you are old enough to be on YouTube to understand who Ed Piskor is, the whole 9 yards, I'm going to assume you're old enough to have been around for the hashtag #MeToo. You can find those videos. You can do your own research. It's freaking out there.
People are still doing it on TikTok, basically. Whenever a less than attractive man asks out a woman who is, quote unquote, above his station, she actually does take personal offense to it and basically freak out about it a lot of the time.
Yeah, so these two are saying this is going to age well and you guys are sick. All right, yeah, okay. I'm not going to argue that one. Let me move down some. You hypocrites make my skin crawl. R.I.P. Ed Piskor, you delighted so many with your talent and your love of comic book creation.
At what point were we hypocrites? We have one person. We have one person asking for an adult to act like an adult. We have one person demanding to see more evidence before he's willing to condemn someone.
Actually,
And we
all
have
of us do
someone,
that.
in my case, saying accusations are not by themselves evidence over and over and over again insistently.
Yeah.
That's pretty
I don't think
consistent as far as I can tell.
smoke alarm.
I
What doesn't sit
tried to
right
warn
with
you that people would mock you over the ceiling bird.
Biotic is saying what doesn't sit right with me is Molly Dwyer outs Ed after leveling life ruining allegation, says I don't want to talk about this anymore. Yeah, I agree with this guy. Sorry, you can't just take your toys and go home after going public and releasing weirdly edited screenshots. As a matter of fact, in the next one, I called her out. I said, look, you've got a body count now. You need to release everything so we could see that this was worth the death of Ed Piskor.
Yeah, you can't point the heretic finger and then when the person under pressure folds, go, well, that clearly wasn't my fault. Moving on. La la la.
Somebody said pretty gross this slot. I don't understand. Well, this person right here, once again, commented on a title. They did not watch the video. The next guy, Wraith, says, if you're getting a basement, make sure it doesn't flood. Well, guess what?
That comment aged like 5 slides, didn't it?
We got that much water in our basement right now. White Knot says 2,000 views. Respect. I think it went up to 3. Nope, 2.5. Okay. Let's see. Sounds like you have something on your own hard drive. Deflect. The judgment is nigh, all in good time. Pray and repent. No, it doesn't. How does, okay, guys, how does it sound like we have questionable material on our hard drives when we were saying the girl needs to show the unedited messages and Ed needed to act like an adult? Seriously,
yeah,
that was the whole message.
Accusations aren't themselves evidence. Like what?
We managed to say that same freaking thing for 3 hours. And somebody replied, damning someone for not defending a groomer is wild. You alt-right guys. I don't know if that's an alt-right thing there, dude. But it's a weird mix because a lot of people going after anybody who said something is on the right side.
We didn't ever condemn her. All we said was accusations aren't themselves evidence. Ed should have been acting like an adult if he had to, and provide me more evidence to convince me. Those 3 things are perfectly reasonable statements that all 3 of us made, and nobody, what?
Cyberpunk
nobody ever demonized her.
Cyberpunk mentioned that there were more people coming out. We mentioned that in the second video. I told him that we were going to talk about it, but unfortunately, by the time we got to doing it, Ed had already killed himself. I feel bad for the other half of kayfabe. Dude is going to get dragged into Piskor's idiocy, says Aloise. Donald Duck says EP is effed all to hell. Sad really for him. Yeah, and and once again, we're talking about the allegations before. And these were the comments. I was like, wait, we are not responsible. Ethan Van Sciver is not responsible for the death of Ed Piskor. 0%. He named the people he felt were responsible. And here's the thing. From what I understand, I could absolutely be wrong about this. Ed would not be on our side, from what I've heard, of this cultural war.
Mm-hmm. Oh, ours, yeah, 100%. I mean, my understanding, I think the tweets were still out there or whatever, but he had signed the pledge. Mm-hmm. Done the Scott Snyder thing. If you watch enough of the cartoonist kayfabe videos, every now and then, you would hear some little, remark or something. Yeah, he wasn't on our side. And that's the whole thing about this is it didn't matter what you said, I said, Ethan Van Sciver could have said the worst possible things. And I know he was, laughing at him at the beginning, and that was part of the reason it appeared again, another case of one of these leftist white knights turning out to actually be a bad guy. And
The male feminist meme of he who white knights the hardest is inevitably the one with the longest rap sheet.
yeah, and again, the classic thing of jealousy, envy. When you're an ally with one of these groups, the minute that you're either in the way of somebody, they're jealous of you, or you're no more use to their
or you have the black
their
spot
cause.
on you.
Yeah,
There-
or you have no more use to their cause, they will throw you under the bus, and they will.
There's not a lot of loyalty
Drive it over you.
on that side
probably.
of the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's when you look at what happened, it's sad, and I certainly now wanted him to fight, but he saw it as a black hole, because within 48 hours of this stuff coming out, he lost his book deal.
He saw the beast with 1,000 eyes coming for him, and he didn't see any reason in fighting it.
Yeah, all the people that he thought were necessarily like friends or would have defended him in the industry abandoned him.
The weird thing is as I said, in this culture war, we are not the people that he sided with. However, we were the ones that were actually, even with the joking title and the thing. And once again, I titled this, I Killed Ed Piskor, because that's my sense of humor. Even with all of that, we would have been the ones that would have given comfort. We would have been the ones that said, hey, look, dude, keep pushing, man. I mean,
we did as much as
this too shall pass. This too shall pass. It happens. People come after you. They get bored. They let go. Even what's her name? The head of the Whisper Network. What's her freaking face?
What?
She's a Bond villain or something like that, right?
Well, there's multiple.
Tamara.
Well, okay, so you're talking about Tamara Bondvillain.
And there's another one.
Who's a color and everything. Well, there's her. There's Alex DeCampi.
That's the one I was thinking of, Alex DeCampi. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, she has doubled and tripled down and is trying to constantly paint herself as the victim.
Right.
In all of this, and it's truly disgusting.
So let me get some comments, and then we're going to move to the next one. Phil the Kill says, what's interesting in a sense is how Ed has seen the shit with fake news, and he knew he could prove it, but still checked out. We actually said that in the second video, that his suicide note, there's a section in there that was an excellent argument. He should have stood up, said that, got that out there, called the Whisper Network out for the bitches they are, and stuck around. But
unfortunately, he knew the beast with 1,000 eyes was coming for him, and there was nothing he could do.
Can't. Now there's nothing he can do. He chose, I won't do anything. There's no getting around that. But right. But he could have defeated it.
The difference is what he probably was thinking to himself. He's not arguing against the normies. He's not arguing against the court of public opinion. He's arguing with an industry that has become ideologically possessed by people he once considered friends, and he knows full well that even if his name were cleared, by sworn affidavits from freaking angels, it still probably wouldn't have changed the minds of the Tamara Bondvillain and the Alex DeCampis of the world, or any of the people who have the power to get him a job. So
yeah, there was some guy on Twitter who was trying to argue that Ed just could have done the work and he would have been just fine. And then this idiot brings up Warren Ellis, and I'm like, oh really? Please tell me what stuff Warren Ellis has done over the last 2 years. You can't, because he hasn't been allowed to work. Now, if
that's one of the.
He's talking, he is mentioning that he has some projects in the works and he's waiting on final signatures, but he's been very, very careful not to say what the projects are, who he's working with, what company they're with.
That's something I got to give to Ripa. Ripa's hiring people who've been canceled by the mainstream. And you're seeing that there is an industry outside of the mainstream. Even I've said this many times, I'm a mark. I love Marvel and DC. The reason why Comicsgate started is we wanted to protect those characters. I'm done. I'm done. Will I go back if they become good? Maybe, probably, but I don't see it happening. Not in my lifetime, anyway. It's just
At this point, the only way to do it
now,
is to do it yourself. At this point,
now and before, you had your boy Zach, you got Richard, Doug, and Tim with Iconic Comics. Ethan puts out a book occasionally. You got this whole other thing going on. You have this. You don't need Marvel and DC, less so than you did before. There's always been independent comic books, but now the self-publishing, we're enjoying another boom, and it's all on the Kickstarters and the Indiegogos. So.
And meanwhile, DC and Marvel are crashing and burning. I really wish that weren't the case. I really wish they would get their act together, and I really wish that the characters I love could be the characters I love again. But if that's not on offer, then they're going to destroy themselves, and all I can do is watch in horror.
Well, the important thing is, yes, you can say that self-publishing, crowdfunding, on a limited small basis is supporting those, or hopefully supporting those individual creators. Problem is that Marvel and DC are what we commonly refer to as they're the brands that keep the lights on.
They are.
And if you want an actual thriving comic book industry, you need Marvel and DC. That's just
you do.
That's just the way it
well,
is.
They are. I wouldn't say thriving like they used to, but they are making sales. And I said this was going to happen. I said it 4 or 5 years ago that we're going to lose this because the kids who are 13 years old in 2013 are going to be 23 now. They're going to have their disposable income, and they're not going to know better. More to the point, I actually saw some people talking about how old comics have too many words. And I saw another, and I commented on this one, about how Tomasi's run was too jingoistic and patriotic. And
oh, for the love of...
I was like, holy shit. Bendis, of course. That was the good Superman.
The good news is a lot of the people...
Sorry, but they're not selling. They're not selling enough to.
I wasn't done. Dalton interrupted me, so I stopped talking. But they're selling to a different audience. Those kind of books. They've got books out there that they're trying to get to old farts like myself. And sorry, LK, gonna lump you in. But and those are the ones that, of course, have the classic creators on the books that are supposed to continue those classic runs. But mainstream, I don't know if you can save it anymore. I don't know.
And here's the other thing. The good, or I guess you could say the silver lining to all this, is a lot of those 23-year-olds with disposable income aren't even persuaded to check out comics because the quality is low, and instead are moving to things like manga and anime and bande dessinée, and that's fine too. I begrudge none of those industries. But as someone who grew up in an era where DC and Marvel had both existed for 50, 60, 70 years, like a human lifetime, I would very much like to see a future where they continue to exist for another 50, 60, 70 years, and on and on and on until it's been 500 years and they're treated like Shakespeare, as well they should be.
Okay, let me read through the comment on some because I'm way behind. The little bar's gone halfway up the page. So, so we've got... Phil the Kill saying grooming has turned into some sort of nebulous smear term. Warren Ellis was destroyed grooming girls as young as 25 and in their third. That's not grooming. That's just bad decision on the female side. Dark Admiral saying, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's blocked most of the people I know from our side. Yes, I've never had any interaction with him whatsoever. I kind of find it ironic because I met him at a con and we talked for a bit. I got Grand Design signed. It's kind of funny how that works because on the internet, if you're not on their side, you're the most evil person in the world. But you can have a good conversation with them. I had a great conversation with Tom King about Supergirl. It's just the way it is. Phil saying he earned 0 cool points blocking all the critics. I don't even know, but I'm sure I was blocked. Sometimes they just use the blockchain and you don't even know it until you go and check.
They
what's
pass
coming.
it around the industry. They make a blockchain that everybody uses, pretty much.
Hominus saying, I'm not sure that, surprised that Ethan has also thrown crap in there. Ethan has told people to off themselves on Twitter too. It's pretty bad. I think, if you say stuff like that, I've heard that he said crappy things. Not responsible for Ed's death. He just isn't. And that's one thing that we were getting in our comment section. I've got to move on up a little bit because I am way behind, and I do apologize there, guys. As I saved the Marvel and DC characters back issues, bagged and boarded. There you go, Dave. That's the best way to do it. I mean, there are thousands of comic books you haven't read yet, starting at the Golden Age and moving all the way up. And they are fun. They're awesome in their ways. They're silly in their ways. And some are just flat out bad in their own ways. But at least they're far more interesting. Because right now, you can almost write whatever. If I gave you a character and I said, write a modern day version of this character, you could write it yourself because you've seen it. They always tell the same story.
You want to know really?
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
You want to know really how bad it is today? I came to an unsettling realization the other day when I was thinking about Marvel, as I sometimes do, and I realized that Marvel, if it came out today, would just be an average bad comic. Would just be
so.
like a normal disposable.
Yeah.
Like, there was a time when Marvel was the bottom of every barrel. But Marvel, with the possible exception of issue 3, if it came out today, would be indistinguishable from the average bad comic book run today.
Dark Admiral says, sadly, I don't see going back to Marvel. I've lost hope, of course. I've lost interest. Guys, I got to be very... one of the reasons why I stopped doing new comic book reviews is because I literally have lost interest in reading new comic books. There's occasionally something will pop up, but, I like doing the comic book origins. And Fragminion just started up the he commissioned a video. He said, do a positive review of Wild Dog. Now, I've read Wild Dog. I think Wild Dog is a thing that was written and drawn 30 years ago. So I'm rereading it and I'm trying to find the positives, and I absolutely freaking have. And God bless them for commissioning that video. So that's coming up. I just got a commission for the comic book origins of Cloak and Dagger. That's what I like reading. I like reading the back issues. Even though, yes, some of these I've already read before, they're just so much more original than today's. Even if they say, hey, we got a new character, you know what that character is going to be.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'll give you a new book that came out this week that you really should pick up.
Okay.
It's the new Tony Fleek's book, Uncanny Valley.
Tony Fleek's got me with a Stray Dog, so
Yeah.
I'm willing to give that a shot.
So the basis on this book is, it starts out a kid. He's got a single mom. His mom's mentions a traveling nurse, so you can tell they moved a lot. It opens up with him with 2 other kids on a bridge, and you can tell, he's kind of like the new kid in school. He's trying to, make friends, get in. These kids literally dare him to jump off a bridge. And it's like, well, it's about 10 or 15 feet down. I think we're going to get hurt. It's like, what? You scared? 3, 2, 1. All 3 of them jump off the bridge. 2 of them hit the ground and break their legs. The kid instead hits the ground and leaves a kid-sized hole sprawled out like that, and then pops out of the hole going, what happened?
Okay, that sounds interesting. Yeah, why not? Let's give that a try.
It basically turns out cartoon physics are at work, and I'll just kind of leave it at that.
The Elk says, who killed Ed Piskor? Presumably with clickbait. Yes, I gave him a title. A lot of the people claiming that LK and I and Dalton and Eric killed Ed Piskor with a title. They didn't watch the video. They're morons. Phil is saying Thinker Critical does nice work. Who is DNC? DNC is your boy Zach. Diversity in Comics is what DNC stands for. That's what he was calling himself when we started Comicsgate. We didn't start.
In the old days.
It was not a group like it is under Ethan. It was just a bunch of YouTubers that talked about comics, that was talking about the SJW thing. And there is a video I made because Phil Cummings and I kind of made the same video. And so I thought it would be funny to talk about the group, everybody who's doing this. And I said, we're not the same person. The thumbnail is my old profile picture, DNC's old profile picture, and Captain Cummings' old profile picture. And it talked about how we're not the same person, even though we have similar thoughts on the subject. And I asked, okay, who else? Who do you guys know who should be on this video, who should be in this group, the people you should be following, that kind of thing? The comments just were like, Doug Ernst. I mean, it was like almost, it was like a big old song of just Doug Ernst. Get with Doug Ernst.
Doug.
Yeah, it was really funny. It was just, that was the main name that was called out, because he was doing these awesome Spider-Man story videos where he would just tear into Dan Slott's Spider-Man. So yeah, good stuff. And I'd still recommend Doug Ernst and all. I'm sorry, I gotta skip over. There is a blockchain outside of crypto terms. Yeah, they'll take out everybody. Hey, Phantism, what's up? You still need to read Feral #1, says Undead Quinn. Guess who commissioned Cloak and Dagger? I could actually check, but is it you? Well, thank you. Cloak and Dagger was me. I always found the character interesting and never knew anything about him. Well, I will try to do you service. I'll try to do a good video for you, sir. If you guys do have a character or a story or something, go on over to Ko-Fi. The link is in the description below. Let me have it. I'm very interested in seeing what you guys come up with. Oh, sorry for not getting DNC at first. I'd be late in the game. No problem. And then Elk saying, been catching up for months. I tried to follow Captain Cummings on one of his return to YouTubes. His postings were undecipherable. Yeah, they're a little bit different. Not my cup of tea, but good luck to him. I hope he's happy. I hope everything's going well for him. Just for fun and shits and giggles, is they said. That's not the one. I need the other. Here we go. This is the other. This is our response video. This one happened after Ed self-deleted. Thank you very much to Muriel Bellini, who says, thanks for this, RIP Ed. This was us going off on the cancel culture. And I'm going to say this, and this is probably going to be the most controversial thing I'll say about everything. We called out the Whisper Network because they are, I think the worst thing is they're very unempathetic. They don't care. They've got their points to be made. They, according to Ed, they are what drove him to do what he did. And I believe that's. I believe that's absolutely true.
He named his murderers. Pure and simple.
Well, I'm gonna fight back on one thing. Ultimately, and this is one thing that we cannot let go of. Ultimately, Ed did it. Some people may have said bad things. Ed did it. The Whisper Network, absolutely 100% is, in his own words, were the ones that put him in the mindset to do it. Ed did it. They may have said some horrible things, just like Ethan Van Sciver. Ed did it.
And I wished he had never been in the mindset to do it, but
yeah. Once again, go on ahead. I'm sorry.
As long as there are people who can literally turn off whether they think you are a human based on moralistic or ideological reasons, there will always be situations like this. There will always be people who, once they get declared heretic, see the writing on the wall and go, "Well, I'm not going to let them take me. I'm gonna do it myself." My last little vestige of self.
And that's why also during this video I said constantly, if you are at that spot, reach out to somebody before making an unfixable situation. Even if you have to go to at Anglantine on X, I'll be there. It's incredible that somebody can be driven to this, and he did name them. And sorry for those who want to blame me or LK or Eric or anybody or Dalton, anybody on that video that night. We didn't drive him to this. He wouldn't look to us for an opinion.
And even if he had, most of the opinions were, we need more evidence, we need to give him some kind of benefit of the doubt, and we need to treat accusations as accusations rather than evidence of wrongdoing.
Well, so Almanac of Sleep is saying Ed Piskor's death is a big red flag showing the danger of cancel culture in the Whisper Network that has been behind some of the worst cyberbullying anywhere near the comic book hobby, which you participated in, to be honest. No, I didn't. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to take zero responsibility for the death of Ed Piskor. Absolutely zero. Because once again, you're responding. If you think I or LK or anybody on this, if you think I did it, no, you're wrong. The most and the worst I said was Ed was the adult. He should have been responsible. The rest of it, that's on Ed. Wraith is saying good conversation. Thank you. I believe it was. I believe we had a very good conversation on what happened to Ed. The parents should sue the newscast that showed up at his house and the girl that leaked the DMs. For sure, it's her fault too. Comics gates have nothing to do with this. Don't get why you're blaming them. If I did, I apologize. I do believe because I don't know what anybody said. So the most I can say is that's what I've seen. I've seen people on Twitter or X or whatever the hell you want to call it. I've seen people on YouTube blaming Ethan Van Sciver, John De La Rose, and the rest of Comicsgate. They aren't in Ed's purview, or weren't, sorry. But they weren't. They're not people that Ed would have respected enough to listen to. And he named, as LK said, he named his murderers. Payne called Diamond saying he better have gone out doing something epic or I'm not going to his funeral. The way to take it. Sophia says Ed is responsible for his own actions. If innocent, he's obliterated any chance of redemption, robbed victims of accountability, if it's true. But now we'll probably never know. That was my take. That's my take on it. To a degree, self-deletion can be forced by exclusion from the group. Being a pariah is too painful for some. And that's why, once again, seek help. If you are feeling lonely, step out, talk. Come here. Come here. Ask if you can jump on one of the live streams. Be a part of the show.
For the love of God, I think we've all been there at some point in our lives, and being around people who would convince you to do it because you're immoral is not a good people to be around. The people you want to be around are the people who say things like, you have something unique to contribute to the world, please don't do it. Which is generally this group. At least that's been my experience in this group for as long as I've been here, which has been a jolly long time at this point.
I don't have those kind of thoughts. Like, I'm not a depressed person, never have been. However, I don't like to go, as much as I love a great view, I don't like to go to the edge of a railing because I caught myself, not because I wanted to die. When I was young and I realized I am this person, I think to myself sometimes, I would love to fly. And then I think, okay, if I just stand up here, I could sail over that rock and I could actually probably fly. And I have these thoughts. I have, it's kind of funny because when I saw the movie The Happening, I was like, wait a second, I do that all the time. I've got those thoughts all the time. Hey, I wonder how it feels to be a crash test dummy. If you guys have never had these thoughts, like serious in your head, you have no idea.
And I'm on the other end of the spectrum where I actually have rather crippling general anxiety, and I have had depression before, and I have genuinely considered doing it.
I got talked to, by the way, because my wife does suffer depression. And when I said I don't respect suicide, she goes, it's far more complicated than what you're talking about, because she has been there. I have not. I have, however, taken a stapler and just casually, because I wanted to feel like, okay, what did that feel like? I've had a moment where I was cutting. I have some white spots on my arms because it was like, wow, that sucks. Don't do that. So yeah, there are those thoughts. So yes, I'm fucked up too. Let's see. Would you be willing to cover the corruption of youth that started the EEC ratings? Just wondering. You give me an issue. Bad Comics is saying, so England racks up another notch on his murder post. I blame the beer. The bigger it gets, the more bodies come. That's the plan. Yeah. Dalton, you're being called dead on. The bird, yes, Undead Quinn, it's the bird. It's not the smoke alarm at all. Your skepticism and lack of grief is clearly motivating, I guess. Lack of grifting. I'm sorry. Well, thank you. I
did. That was definitely not the only. Hang on, let me find the comment. I did, and that definitely has not been the only time that I've considered it. There have been times where I've actually gone looking to find the least painful way to self-delete. I have my weaker moments, and usually what gets me there is in fact the impulse of, well, if I'm not worth anything, if I'm making the world worse by being in it, then the most unselfish thing I can do is end myself, so that at least the
you
world
have literally told me that once.
Will be less dragged down by me. So yeah.
You've actually now I'm kind of worried about you, brother. Please, by all means, don't step away, step towards.
Anytime I'm not in the headspace, and I haven't been in the headspace for a jolly long time where I ever would do it. But
you see, I told you.
I just want to co-sign what your wife said, because that usually is the rationale that gets me to that point of I'm worthless, so the best thing I can do for the world is end things. And people don't understand that it's not a selfish impulse to want to self-delete. It's not a I'm better than everyone, or my life isn't going well, so I'm just going to end it for my sake impulse. It very often is a selfless impulse of, I feel as though I'm making the people in my lives worse by being in it. So the most unselfish thing I can do for them is be gone. So yeah, don't tell people who are going through that headspace, if you take nothing else away from me right now, never tell anyone in that headspace that they are being selfish, because at least in my experience and the experience of a lot of people that I've talked to who think in similar ways, it's not selfishness that drives people to that impulse. It's the feeling of so much worthlessness that you feel like you make the world around you worse, and the world would therefore be better off without you in it, or at least the people you love would be. It is a very fucked up place to be, and please by no means think that I'm extolling the virtues here, but please don't think of it as selfishness. You will help no one by thinking of it that way.
Well,
anyway,
I think this is important too. Phantasm saying, let's address one thing here. Men don't open up. Men don't open up about what we go through because we get chastised. I think it's kind of funny when you hear a woman go, I don't want a man who cries. No, you don't. No woman does. I was raised, you got 3 days. 3 days to mourn, 3 days to do, but if you're not doing anything about it on the fourth day, you decided to live with it. That's how I was raised on it. Impulsive thoughts are powerful. They are, but you can get over them. For the love of all that is holy, someone give him $5 for a 9-year 9-volt battery. Obviously, it's not getting changed tonight. If Gail comes back down, I'll ask her to remove the goddamn thing. We're going tomorrow to Walmart. I'll pick it up. That was good timing. That was good timing.
I did warn you before we came on about the ceiling bird and the inevitable result of leaving the ceiling bird there.
Yeah. Also, Bad Comic says, I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. Englentine or R. Kelly? Well, I was there first. It was
Gravity, however, seems to have a different opinion. Oh dear.
Yeah, we were on a mountain when that did. So I don't know if it was like Georgia or if it was Tennessee. I know we went to Tennessee for a while. Like we were going to Washington D.C. and we almost did the Superman tour. We went through the mountains because we're in Florida. We never saw mountains before. So yeah. He doesn't get depressed. He gets desperate. That's actually, yeah, that is actually very accurate. I need to see the path. And if I don't, it's very much like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And my mind's racing. Michael Hart saying that I doubt Ed was watching YouTube channels at that point. Yep. Bad Comic Review reminding everybody, please hit the like channel. Hit the like button and share the channel out. So I'm almost back to 18,000. I really want to cross that 18,000 again on the way to 20. But there you go. You don't necessarily have to have issues with depression to have something that takes the wind out of your sails and sees no other solution. Like moving to Indiana from Florida. I haven't seen the sun in 2 weeks. I understand.
Sweetheart, you're in the spring right now, you realize. Wait until about 6 months from now.
No, the sun shines in Florida always. And it's gray always here. And I remember, of course, we all heard that, people kill themselves during the holidays because it's in gray. It's not happening in Florida. That's all I'm thinking. So anyway, Funny McFunfunds says, nobody did it for him. I can understand the utter brutal reality of being in that position, especially if you're innocent, but he took the action, no one else. Others face the same situation and don't. And somebody is saying the blood is on my hands. No, it isn't. There is no blood, well, not Ed Piskor's blood anyway, on my hands. And if you want to find the people of whom's blood is on my hands, you're going to have to go to a little place called Alligator Alley. I'm not mentioning names.
And again, if you watched either video, because I'm assuming the content in the video I wasn't there for is pretty much the same or in the same vein as the video I was there for. Yeah. If you watch either video, you will notice that no one is saying fuck Ed Piskor and everything he stands for. I hope he self-deletes. We're usually saying, guys, come on, let's not jump on the moral bandwagon and hang the guy over an accusation before there's good evidence.
Oh my gosh, Bad Comics saying it's great, describing almost every state north of the Mason-Dixon line for 6 months.
I'm just telling you, you're lucky you moved during the spring, because it could be so much worse, my friends.
Right. Hello, darkness, my old friend. So cancel culture offline someone and everyone's lined up to grift his death. Classy. That being said, I am actually, here we go. His biggest flaw is he doesn't shill enough. And that's actually true, by the way. If you watch these, how to get rich, how to make a successful YouTube, I should be telling you to like and subscribe every 5 or 6 minutes. Hey, and don't forget, buy my merch, or stuff like that. And all sorts of stuff. I don't do it. We have, I should, but we have conversations in it. Yeah.
Bad Comic, I feel bad for you if you live in Ohio, because I went to college in Ohio. That state has the most schizophrenic weather I think I've ever experienced in my life. There was this one time where I was going to the one of the cafeterias on campus, and on one side of the building the cafeteria was in, it was snowing, like blizzard level snowing. The other side, it was as sunny as the brightest day of spring. I still to this day cannot understand it.
So I think Ed wanted there to be discussions around his death in hopes of lessons learned, says Classic Fungus. And then we get Addy a day a week, sorry. Hope you guys are happy now. LK, are you happy?
No.
No?
I said on earlier streams, the one thing that I get mad about myself about this was, initially, taking a little bit of, joy in the classic, haha, here another example, somebody on the left who, acted all, righteous gets, hoisted on their own petard. And, that's the wrong action, to take. And
that's why I was as insistent as I was the entire time, because it is very important to me that my principles don't change just because someone I don't like is on the receiving end of them.
Yeah. And, and that was before I had, seen, the allegations or, I basically kind of just scanned things, and again, just initially kind of took it at face value. And, it was only after, going through it and, basically playing devil's advocate a little bit, going, well, this is actually really, selectively edited. There's no context to it. Then, all the allegations that this person's making are just allegations with no proof, when it seems like it would have been really easy to provide the text to support what she was saying and why did she and things like that. But, no, I'm not happy at all about this, especially because nothing's gonna change in the industry. You can already see how, well, I should say, I guess, nothing I think publicly is going to change in the industry. Do I think some of the people in the Whisper network that are still trying to paint themselves as victims and defend themselves and their behavior, will they see less work? Probably, just because there's going to be enough creators out there that, when an editor comes up and says, hey, I want you to write this book and Ramon Villalobos is the artist on it, they're going to go, no, thanks, I'll pass.
We can but hope, especially with the ESG money drying up eventually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we definitely know there are, multiple stories out there of artists that have passed on doing books when they hear about certain writers, that are assigned to it, saying, no, sorry, I want nothing to do with that person, and don't do the book. So I think that'll be a bit of a correcting problem, but publicly, no, I don't think anything's gonna change.
Okay, Gail came down, said something embarrassing about my daughter, and I just wanted to make sure the mic was off for that.
Oh yeah, no, it didn't catch anything.
Okay. Phantasm was asking, can I do a poll for how many guys have been told to suppress their emotions? I kind of changed it. Have you told or have been told to suppress your emotions? Because that does happen a lot. I think that is, I've seen that even happen with, like somebody might say, well, what do you really think about this? Or what do you really think? And if you go at a certain point in time, you're just told, simmer it down. And I got to admit that if somebody is crying or overly doing it, I'll be like, come on, it's not that bad. I actually, unfortunately, I did that to my daughter, Elizabeth, who we have found suffers anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before I knew that, before I understood that, she just went off, and I was like, good Lord, you're making a scene.
Because you didn't see the 1,000 things that were tiny little paper cuts all the time, every day.
I feel so bad that I had that reaction. It's kind of how, like I said, it's kind of how I was raised. We never shown that in my family. We were very much, I'm sorry, me and my younger brother, definitely. I'm more of my father's child. My older brother, you guys met him, Jack. He's very quick to anger. He's very quick. So he doesn't hold the same thing. But I have always been like that. But I will say this: Gail's right here too, and I'm about to spill some beans. Sorry, honey. I was actually very quick to anger in the beginning of our marriage. You know, at one point I scared Gail because she made me mad, and I reached up, I punched the ceiling of the car. And that's an eye opener. You know, when you claim you love someone, you find out you scare them that bad, it didn't get physical. It was just a rage thing. It was always like that with me, because I would bottle everything up, and then when it got too much for me, it was a big explosion. That was actually something when I realized what I had done, that it has to change. It really is. Now that what you're hearing there, that's Pistachio upstairs. He hears me, he wants to come down.
Is the flesh bird arguing with the ceiling bird?
No, he hears me talking and he wants to come down. He is my boy. Let's see. Look, at this point, you don't have to agree with his views or like his art, but there are others who did, who actually cared about Ed, and I feel bad for them. I really do. I've seen the news in small comics form before the Kent's pigs jumped on it, says Unday Quinn. I agree, LK. I think more of them are going to be looking over their shoulders more and put a distance between themselves. I would like, and I don't think this is happening, because I've seen a lot of people jump to Alex DeCampi's side and on all this. I don't think anything's going to come of this. I think a lot of them are going to circle their wagons. They're going to talk about Ed did this to himself. It's more so than I have. He was the bad guy, and it's not going to be Ed did this to himself. Ed killed himself kind of thing. It's going to be Ed did this to himself, as in he deserved it because of what he did to
blah blah blah.
Yeah. The poll is extremely telling and sad, says Phantasm. I prefer to cry by myself. I have, by the way, actually, that is something that I do. I open up way too much here sometimes. But there have been times where Gail walked in. I didn't even know I was, but I was teary. And it's just like, okay, it got to the top. It surfaced out. It usually is just around the eyes. And that's it. It's just like all the stress, just, it needs to go somewhere. And it's just boom. Gail comes in. I think of a funny joke. Let's go. That's the way it usually is.
My spirituality always kicks in the hardest when I'm in that sort of mood. I just throw myself into whatever particular project I'm working on and try to make something of that instead of focusing on the thing. And usually that helps.
Yeah, it's something. I think they've been brought into the light a little bit, at least as Michael Hart. Phantasm saying, honestly, I don't know a lot about Ed, but when I heard what happened and looked into it, I just sat there shaking my head thinking, oh no, not another one. And Unday Quinn says, Cancer pigs are going to victim blame. And they have been, in all honesty. They really have. And Aqualad saying, I think they are going to blame everything on others with no accountability. And that is what we have been seeing.
Well, here's the creepy thing. They actually, in their own heads, I don't think realize they did anything wrong. That's something you see a lot with people with, especially what are called cluster B personality disorders. And if I'm being entirely honest, I think there is a massive overrepresentation of cluster B personality disorders in social justice. They genuinely don't realize that they did anything wrong. And then when they get consequences for their own actions, they will internalize it as victimhood. But fortunately for me, I can know that and simultaneously also go, I don't respect the victimhood claims of people who can literally turn off their ability to see other people as humans based on ideological or moralistic reasons.
Yeah. Oh no, it's no, they don't see they did anything wrong. The only thing they may have qualms about is quote unquote a bad result. But the thing is that their actions have always led towards this. Their goal has always been to completely eliminate someone.
It's the logical outcome of their beliefs. They just don't like the logical outcome of their beliefs.
Yeah.
I mean, when they say they want somebody to go away, this is what they mean.
That's
So
dark.
Whether it's this or whether it's you will have no career, you will have no means to feed yourself, your name will be irreversibly blackened in the court of public opinion. Is there really that much of a difference whether you're actually saying someone should self-delete or you're saying, I hope they never have a means to support themselves ever again and I hope they live in infamy and sadness for the remainder of their life? Because that's not a massive difference as far as I'm concerned.
yeah,
I think the
Hold
second
on
one
just
might
a
actually be worse in
I'll
some
be right
ways
back.
because you actually have to live through the suffering it causes.
yeah, no, it's the unpersoning of someone is what they're looking for. So, yeah, folks, anybody who was interested in our Bad Comic Beatdown, it'll come up after this stream's over, whenever that is.
Yep. And I will bring the absinthe this time.
Yeah, you'll need it.
Yeah, I will. They're massacring my boys.
So, yeah, I mean, just yeah, all around with this, I'm pretty much, done, talking about it. I've read, and I, kind of encourage anybody to, read the posts that, his brother and sister put out. They're heartbreaking. They show what the real damage and the loss was.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Dark Admiral. The bill for their own beliefs will eventually come due, whether they like it or not. There are a lot of Amber Heards and Amber Heards in waiting in this particular form of social justice, and sooner or later, the truth will out and the bill will come due. And I'm gonna take as much Schadenfreude as I can when that happens, because again, as I say, once you start literally being able to turn off your concern for another human being based on ideological reasons, then I start turning off my consideration for yours.
So the don't talk to these people right here. This was not a comment. This was a troll. I hated Zarda's action yesterday was for the best. I didn't respond to it because I think there's no use in responding to it.
Yeah.
User HH1 saying there's no redemption in self-deletion. Everybody has needed redemption at some point in their life.
It's
That's
true.
what I said.
The problem is that the cult and the religion that motivates these people, there is no redemption in this secular religion that these activists and lunatics follow. And that's part of the reason why Ed saw there was no path, because he has dealt with these people and he knows there's no such thing as contrition or redemption in the eyes
As
of
I
these
said,
people.
he saw the beast with 1,000 eyes coming for it to do and knew full well there was no point in fighting it.
No, I mean, case in point, there was something the other day that got brought up on X, and next thing you know, the whole Vic Mignogna saga is being relitigated on X, and it's just like, seriously, again, it shows that these people on the left cannot let it go. That, oh yeah, no, Vic Mignogna was a sex pest and blah blah blah. And it's like, well, no, if you actually paid attention, that's not the case, and it was a bunch of jealous harpies essentially that years after the fact blew out of proportion activities and what have you. But of course, they won't listen, and because the lawsuit went badly and whatever.
This is why my party line on this is and always shall be: accusations are not by themselves evidence, not even when they're numerous, not even when there's a bandwagon effect. Accusations are not evidence, and they never will be by themselves.
I guess the guy deleted it, but there was one dude who said that they were going to send my name to the lawyers of the family of Ed Piskor. I thought that one was particularly fun.
Yeah.
That lawsuit's not going to go the way they think it is. Because there was
What
literally
you gonna do?
no
Watch the video and find out that we were actually saying, you know,
benefit of the doubt. Let's see the evidence,
yeah.
accusations on
At
evidence,
this
etc.
point in time, I think the responsible thing to do would be to release the unedited thing. How do you decide when a comment goes too far and it's just someone trying to troll? I've been doing this for quite a long time. Now it's been about 7 years in March. And you get it. It's like I could tell when you've commented on a video without actually watching it. You're just commenting on the title. I don't have a lot of respect for that because once
You
again,
didn't engage with the material.
yeah, you're not. It's like being disingenuous. And generally, if somebody says something like what that gentleman said, you know, like, "Oh, it's good he killed himself," that's going for a reaction. That's not going to have a conversation. And I do prefer comments that at least try to have a conversation. You know, as far as like Ed is concerned, even if you disagree, tell me why you disagree. There, you get things like "you suck." That's supposed to mean, you know. But then you'll get some people. I've had some people write pages of comments, and so I would love. So I think to myself, do I bring them out in the sunshine? Do a whole video about this one comment because it's actually done? But you just get a feel. You get a feel for even through just text. You get a feel for who's being disingenuous and who's being sincere. If you go too far, there are things that obviously if you're the ones that go too far where I'll remove them, swear words, some slurs, stuff like that is going to get you taken down. If you're obviously trolling and you're trolling, like if you put in, you know, "England team, you suck." I've heard that a million times. I've been insulted in every which way, shape, and form, so it doesn't really bother me. If you're informed and you say I suck, I actually, okay, that's kind of cool. But if you jump into other people's comments, like there used to be a couple of guys who would jump in and they would just start shit on every comment. And it was like, obviously you're just here to troll. I appreciate the interaction on one hand, but I got to get rid of you. You got to go, because I want everybody to feel like this is someplace you can go and leave a comment and have a conversation.
There's an old quote that comes to mind in situations like this, and that is, "Life is a comedy for those who think, a tragedy for those who feel, and a never-ending fucking convenience for those who just talk shit."
There you go. But yeah, it's a weird situation. Bedtime saying, judging by the countless streams I've joined, I can confidently say I would sit down and have a beer with y'all. I honestly feel that way too about everybody who's been on the show and quite a few people who've been in the comments. I'm sorry I missed Jim. Jim Sorensen was in the area. We were settling our shit here. I couldn't meet up with him. I would have loved to. I haven't met a lot of people in real life, and I would like to. I think
we're certainly not the biggest YouTube accounts on the platform, but I've never known a long-term contributor to this audience that I don't find to be an absolutely exemplary individual. So there's that.
I met Tim, I met Doug, and Mark Pellegrini, the Icon Comics guys. They're awesome. I haven't. Yeah, but beyond that, actually, I haven't met. I wanted to meet Gary, but they were at the convention, and everybody wanted to meet Gary and the guys. And I was like, yeah, I'm not I even went up to him like I'm some big shot, and I said, yeah, I'm not a part of this. I'm not here because, oh my gosh, Gary the fan, you know, I'm a fan. I wanted to meet my friend, you know, but they were swamped. So I left a message saying, hey, look, if you can remember, tell them England team stop by. Because yeah, I would have loved to have at least at the very least shake his hand and say hello. Yeah, and say that yes, we have actually met in real life. I met Ethan Van Sciver. We got along okay. It's kind of funny. We've had our rivalry on a couple of years ago.
Rikita Law.
Yeah, with Rikita. Yeah, but in all honesty, when I did meet him, yeah, we get along. So, you know, no.
So some of it, I'm
hatred
sure,
there.
is him playing up to the persona he has and whatnot.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I think he's an elevated version of himself when he's online. No, but he was really, really kind of cool, very straight to the point, which, you know, I kind of like that too. But yeah, I liked Ethan. We didn't spend a day together or anything, just about an hour or so. I hung out when he was doing a signing at a comic shop and just had a conversation. It was nice. It wasn't a long one, but still. But I would love to. I would love to meet Dalton, LK, Eric. Eric's right around the corner down the road, so that's going to happen at some point.
Yeah, if you're ever up near PA or I'm ever out Indiana way, then I'll definitely let you know
I
beforehand.
just drove to Michigan, so I'm thinking Wisconsin. Maybe go visit RDV. You know,
Bankman.
Yeah. Let's see. They don't want forgiveness. They want absolution for their sins because in their eyes they were on the right side. Talking about the cancel. That's Dark Admiral Phil saying, "I'm still a few minutes behind. Had a store run to do, but know nothing will be learned from this." That's absolutely true. I don't think it. The same way that I don't think Trump's going to win the election, I know that they're not going to learn anything. I think Trump will win the election. I don't think he'll become president.
I was going to say, are you putting your money on that one? Because I wouldn't put money on that one at this point.
With everything changing socially within the last 10 years, says Phantasm, I really struggled to see how Cap could be written competently and have relevance without pandering. In all honesty, Phantasm, I think we need pandering. I think we need a Captain America almost like the Golden Age. We need a full-on jingoistic, I love this country. I think we need that the way we need Uncle Sam. If you guys read, there was a couple of years back, Robert Venditti did the Freedom Fighters, and it was all about what if the Nazis won World War II, they took over America, and they killed the Freedom Fighters. And of course, what fuels this Uncle Sam is the spirit, the American spirit. So it was very much about trying to get everyone to believe in the country again, to revive the most powerful being in the country, which would be Uncle Sam. So when we're all together, we're all like after 9/11, we were all together for a few seconds before the mainstream media went,
yeah,
you know, people are going to blame the Muslims.
Yeah, sure.
And I think he needs to be written like that for a little bit. Did Venkman finish?
We just need pandering. I think we just need pandering in general, because as much as a bum rap pandering has, pandering does do one thing, which is it proves that the people in the writing room want to actually appeal to the fan base. They sometimes appeal to the lowest common denominator of the fan base, but at least when you're appealing to the lowest common denominator of a fan base, it means you still want them. Whereas in today's day and age, we are told that fans are every subhuman stereotype a chap can unload sold off the barrel at Portobello Road. Like, yeah. we apparently are the devil, and it baffles me and frustrates me when fandom itself is seen as a moral evil in the world. So yeah, pandering would be a step in the right direction, because at least then they would be appealing to the fan base instead of demonizing and taxering the fan base out of existence.
Yeah, now that I've dropped because for most of the video I had the comments up in front of me, I've dropped it. LK, you look pissed.
Tire Plus, we've got the stream that we want to do afterwards. So.
Oh, okay. You're
looking
ahead at what they did to Captain Marvel, and
honestly, I'm just really just kind of talked out of this. I know.
All right.
I'm done talking about Ed. I mean, because it's tragic, and
yeah.
There's nothing else you can really say about it because, again, the bad actors are going to continue being bad actors, and there's,
Okay.
nothing
Well,
you
he
can-
was right. LK set up a reading. I wanted to get on here and talk about that because it's just been bothering. Tomorrow night we are doing an auction. I'm going to figure out some way to do it in this setup here, and so please join us 8:00 Eastern. It's basically, if you guys haven't seen it yet, it's a hangout. We talk about all sorts of stuff while I try to sell comics to help out the family. Definitely going to need it because I just realized I got an email. My bank is going to cut me off from my money because they're sending a card and it's going to have to go through the motions. Stop by Florida before it gets to here. So join, see if there's something that you might like, and join for the conversations as well. In about 10 minutes or so, LK and Dalton are going to do a show talking about a bad comic beatdown. So they're going to tear into a Captain Marvel comic book for you
the
tonight.
latest came out a few weeks ago, Captain Marvel #6, or AKA the Uni Yang show, since it's written by Alyssa Wong, and it stars her self-insert character, Uni Yang, who is this smart, brilliant thief who can do no wrong and always has the right solution. And Carol Danvers has been relegated to a co-star in her own titled book. So,
Of course.
And
Also,
Lord only knows what they're about to do to Hulkling and Wiccan, for which I will need booze. By the way, bring your favorite liquor if you have one. I will certainly be bringing absinthe.
There you go. Also, guys, don't forget, go on over to Ko-Fi, drop $1 in the till if you just want to help out. Also, you can commission a video, tell me comic book origins, really that bad, all sorts. Frag Minion just laid some money out and said, dude, I want you to do it exactly like this. And that has been, I was actually, how do I comment a book? I've done a review of Wild Dog on this channel, and I watched it and I was not nice. So he's like, I want you to do a positive one. Okay, let me see what I can find that was good about it. He did that. We've got a Cloak and Dagger coming as well. You can figure whatever and go on over to Ko-Fi, drop $1 in the till. If you don't see a subject, just do a donation and say, hey, can you do this? And why not? So long as it will not get this channel banned, I'll do my best. That being said, hold on. Quick question. Who is the current Ghost Rider? Do we know?
I think it's Johnny again,
Johnny
right?
Blaze is
I thought
back?
it was Johnny again.
yeah.
Ko-Fi link is in the description. Or it should be. I'll put it there. Thanks, y'all. Never, ever change that smoke alarm battery, the chirpers. Well, what you're hearing now is actually a bird. That bird is going nuts because he can hear me and he wants to come down. But he'll do the hat thing, and yeah. All right.
I'm surprised
Anyway,
he's not
guys.
arguing with the aforementioned stealing bird.
That's true. That's true. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us. Once again, pop right back here in about 10 minutes. Join LK and Dalton. And as always, thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good night, kids.